everyone, and welcome to the Sania Farooqui show. Today, we have somebody joining us who has been working on women's rights in Yemen, Kawkab Al-Thaibani. She's a women's rights activist who works on women issues and peace in Yemen. She is the co-founder and former director of Women for Yemen, a network of women activists in media, human rights, and civil society who advocate for women in peace and security in Yemen. She serves on the advisory board of the Yemeni Archive, an independent platform for documenting human rights and other violations by parties to the conflict in Yemen. Her aim as a communications professional, researcher, and journalist is to empower the visibility of voice of women, especially at the grassroots level. In 2019, she was recognized as one of TRT's Women of the War to highlight the significance of women's role in peace. Thank you so much, Kawkab. It is wonderful to have you on the Sania Farooqui show today.
Okay, and also it's my pleasure, and thank you so much for the nice introduction.
You're most welcome. So, Kawkab, I'm going to start by asking you, according to a report by Amnesty International, Yemen is considered to be one of the worst places in the world to be a woman. What are the different types of violence women are subjected to?
I believe that women are facing the worst kind of violations because in addition to war, Yemeni women are already having their own package of discrimination. So now with the war, they are facing multiple layers of violation, structural and social and political and so on. So for example, now women are carrying the burden of the family, they're facing challenges, and also at the same time, they're still facing discrimination, they're still facing incidents of gender domestic abuse, and you see the many cases that have been out in the press. So it's kind of, the violation, I believe Yemeni women are the most affected group by the war, and also because first there are normally as citizens they're affected, but also because they are already having a past package of discrimination.
So what made you start Women for Yemen Network? Can you tell us a little about that?
I believe that peace can happen in Yemen, and I believe that women have a great role in doing this. And because they are affected, and they are, we say this in the peace language, they're the stakeholder of peace. Because there are stakeholders of war. Yemeni women are one of the groups that really want peace, and they're affected by war. So they will be keen to stop the war, and also they know how to stop it. And also statistics show that 35% increase in sustainable peace when women are included in peace negotiations. So women are discriminated politically, socially, in all levels, from the grassroots to the decision makers. So I believe that's what drive me to found Women for Yemen Network. And I believe with my colleagues, we will have this passion. In addition, I believe it's where I feel like I can voice my just I don't want to be a negative force in society. I want to participate. So with the network, I'm able to do that, and I'm able to connect women, and to speak up, and we have kind of solidarity, and we're able to flag up the most important issues. And I believe we were able to do this to a big extent.
Yeah. Can you give us a few examples of the kind of work that you've done at the ground, at the grass level? Who are the women who are involved? What kind of volunteer work are they doing? How safe is it for women to do that kind of work?
It's enough to say that we participate in many campaigns to stop some gender abuse cases. We have volunteered with many women on the ground to do this. We are now pushing to support to criminalize gender domestic abuse. We have, like, with some colleagues on the ground, we're able to do many activities to raise awareness about gender abuse. And also this is from if we talk about grassroots level. And also for the network, we were able to connect women on the ground to the decision makers. We were able to serve as a channel to show how women can support work. And also we have been able to raise important issues that usually has been like ignored by the, let's say the negotiators, if we would like to say. And also we've been able to support and keep many topics alive, like women's political participation, that it should be secured. And also we were able to support women's activists and women who are working in peace. We keep saying, and if you see the statements we have published, how we approach decision makers, how we have done like national and international advocacy campaigns. We have launched a call to action, and we have done petitions. We have with our colleagues, we're able even, for example, to create manuals to support women inmates inside prison. We have been able to support women to about what are the challenges Yemeni women in prison are facing. And also we have been like, we were one of the Yemeni groups who have been flagging the challenges Yemeni women working in peace are facing. And we were able to feed in international reports about how these crimes and these violations could impact sustainable peace and could also prevent women from doing the work they do.
Yeah. And the ongoing conflict in Yemen has had, horrific impact on all civilians in general, but women and girls have been disproportionately affected. Can you tell us about the impact of the ongoing conflict?
I briefly mentioned that women are the most affected group, but now I can tell you, like, if you start from the beginning, women are being alone with no, they, like in a country in Yemen, they don't have they usually are dependent on their husbands, on their family male members, so they just face themselves that they are alone all of a sudden, and they have to turn into some negative coping tactics in order to survive. And we have seen many reports how women are forced to do some kind of illegal work in order to survive and to support their families. If also some women are facing huge stress to feed their family, and they're facing that when they do that, unfortunately, because of the sudden and rapid change in gender roles, because the society see women as, she should stay home, the sole provider of income should be men, and all of a sudden Yemeni women are now leading domestically and financially the households. This put them under so much social pressure that they are taking a new social rules that the society is not yet prepared. Even their male partners, are not prepared, so they are just facing huge domestic abuse. And there is a lot of incidents that we see now on the rise. And if you go further, you'll see women are similar to many cities. They are affected by the war. Either they got killed by airstrikes, or they got affected by, just many reports are many women are affected because of landmines, because these landmines are anti-personal landmines, and most of the people are affected are civilian, mostly girls and women who are looking for water, and they're fishing, they're looking for food. So, and in addition to the big, let's say, feature of war, they're also facing discrimination. And unfortunately, because of the also situation of the war, even the early marriage is increasing, domestic violence is increasing, because even if the society is against it, some family are forced to marry off their daughters because of that. And now we're talking about the normal, like say, these citizens. If we go further to see, if we go further to talk about the women who are working in civil society, either as development professional or as peace activists, they're facing life threats because of the work they do. Apparently, what they're doing is an intimidation to, as we mentioned before, the war stakeholders who are keen to not to keep this war ongoing. So those women are facing these threats on a daily basis, or while they would do the work, they are facing threats to shut down their organization if they speak about these issues. Sometimes these issues are not even, let's say, very like serious. They're talking about education, they're talking about health issues. And now Yemeni women, I believe there is the threat of changing the gender norms, or let's say they're trying to radicalize the life for Yemeni women. In the north now, they are trying to force women to have a dress code, and also they are forcing and they are banning, contraception methods, and this is very scary. And they are just and they are building on the negative gender norms to keep it to get it worse, because Yemeni women have there is a strong feminist movement inside Yemen. And what is going now, it seems not like no, it's not normal. It's very systematic, and it is done to change the environment for Yemeni women. So what is going on to change, to keep criminalize women from coexisting with men either in schools or in public life. It is meant to intimidate them from going to the public or the political life. This has been even explicitly mentioned by the group of eminent experts, that these practices are meant to intimidate women from working in politics. In the south, from the other side, we noticed that there is also kind of systematic way to encourage toxic masculinity measures, where these, for example, in Aden and Taiz, there is a new behavior that Yemeni society is not accustomed to before. Yemeni society is conservative, but not to this extent. And Yemeni society has in the past refused many practices to force women to have like, for example, an escort, or to force women to have segregated places. But it's still like we were trying to push for even the environment, the culture to be changed. Now this continues. I'm afraid that women will be absent from the public life. And with the drastic change in, and also the let's say the ideological driven education that has, especially in the north, we are afraid that there will be a dark future for Yemeni women in the future.
Mhm. We're also seeing reports of how gravely the pandemic is affecting children and women, leaving a lot of young children malnourished. It's been almost a year now. Can you tell us about the situation?
um, it seems like every time Yemeni women are always trying to find hope in every challenge. They always try to create opportunities with every challenge. And I have to say, like, Yemeni women are the most resilient groups inside the society, and they are the one who putting together the Yemeni society. And it is mainly because of how they are trained. They're trained to be strong. They are trained to be the one who put the family, which is, this is how the gender norms are typically like used in Yemen. But um, this has been like serving them in the war to be the strongest group to survive. So the pandemic unfortunately added another layer of challenge that Yemeni women don't need at this time. For example, most of the entrepreneur and the small businesses are run by women, according to some NGOs that I have been talking to, and they said these businesses were shut down. Unfortunately, even with the pandemic, and this is something even the globe and the UN has highlighted, is that there is discrimination against women. So the businesses run by women, like hairdressing, they were forced to shut down, while like other like barbers or like these shops are run by men, they're not. So when you see there's a discrimination, they think these businesses that women are running are not important, though it's very obvious that Yemeni women are now leading the financial responsibility of the family. So, and also when we see at the isolation centers, there is no consideration of gender sensitive environment where women and girls are separated and having their own rooms that is suitable to them. So and if you, and also when the family got sick, because any family member gets sick, you will see that the one who's going to take responsibility are the women, and it's just because of the imposed social norms on women that they should take the lead and they should take responsibility. So Yemeni women are facing now extra challenges to take care of the sick members of their family, and in addition to the challenges and the burdens they're facing because of the war and because of the also the society sometimes let's say rules.
Yeah. We recently saw the news that the Houthis in power who have issued a ban on women working in restaurants in Yemen. How has that been taken? What is the situation on the ground, and how are women sort of fighting back to such sort of a ban that has been imposed on them?
As I already mentioned, that the Houthi group in Yemen are intimidating women from taking any part in any active part in the social or the political life. So I believe Yemeni women are facing a lot of threats if they want to challenge these measures. And there is a huge resentment and huge resistance and pushback by the Yemeni feminist movement. We have been decrying these measures, and we have been actually warning this from the early, when we see that many Yemeni activists have been detained by the group, and they have been scaring and arresting and using social gender, they use the negative gender norms against women, so they can not only they face oppression, but they face the social abandonment and the social stigma to fight women. So I believe it's Yemeni women activists, they're doing a great job, and we should continue pushing back. We should continue flagging up that these issues is not luxurious issues, and actually we're facing not only um, the hegemony of the Houthi group, but also we're facing the social norms that sometimes favor what they're doing as well.
Yeah. And, since the start of the war in Yemen in 2015, or perhaps even earlier than that, thousands of individuals, mostly men, have been imprisoned or unlawfully abducted. Can you talk a little about how women are working on locating their loved ones, what kind of work they do when it comes to, being involved in reaching out and figuring out how to get their brothers, fathers, husbands back, or even just, fight for them?
Yeah, this is part of the what our I have been involved in the network, and also working with other Yemeni women organization. It's one of the most famous women organization, or a well-known organization in Yemen, called the Women Abductees Association, and they are a group of women who are, and a group of mothers who are supporting and calling for the release of their beloved ones. And I didn't mention this as part of the challenges, because the challenges are endless for Yemeni women, but they're facing this at the top of their challenges, that sometimes they become alone, and they not only making sure the family is well fed, but they make sure also to take care of those who are in prison, or take those who are recently released. Actually, it is one of the things that we push as peace activists, is that one of the building measures is to release those who are wrongfully imprisoned and abducted, and pushing for you know stopping these measures of torturing inmates in prison. We have been pushing for ending the torture inside prisons. In most of the cases, are innocent, and they are illegally abducted and detained. So it is. This is one of the most difficult, say, peace file now that Yemeni women peace activists are pushing for, and we believe any good move towards this will make sure that will be part of the peace process in the future, and will support building trust, in building and support to heal the society fabric.
What is the role of Yemeni women in the peace process? How easy or difficult is it for women to be involved in politics, secure a place with high-level delegations, and be present at the negotiation table in Yemen?
It's actually, as I told you, it is, unfortunately, it is different layers of challenges, but it's very, I don't, like, you have seen that the new government has zero presence of women, and it is a precedent that no Yemeni woman is involved, and all parties have their own narrative of justifying this absence. But it's normal that as someone who was like noticing the changes and the development of situations in Yemen, I knew we would reach this point. Given the change of the Yemeni culture towards women from one side, and the other thing, the absence of women on the grassroots. Yemeni women are absent from local council, absent from political parties. They are absent from, empowering in terms of political training or political activism. So, and the mentality, and I always say that war is toxic masculine phase. So it will never accept women to be part of it. So it will always be with those who have this toxic mentalities, toxic masculinity. So unfortunately, the war will not give women space. That's why, because women are peace agents. So I believe one of the challenges also is the existence of war and the lack of desire of the negotiators to include women.
Yeah. And what about the international intervention, whether it is humanitarian, whether it's political negotiation, even the recent move by US President Biden to revoke US support for Saudi-led conflict in Yemen? How does that impact the everyday lives of people in Yemen? How much are you counting on that?
Actually, as a Yemeni woman working, I'm talking on uh, about the concerns that we as women working in peace were talking. Actually, the intervention of the international organization or humanitarian organization are not locally driven. It is always like either regionally or internationally based interest. So even with the best intervention from Europe or the US or other democratic countries, their intervention seems to lack this understanding, seem to lack sustainable peace dynamics. What they care about is their interest. As you see, like now, Trump has was trying to impose some restriction or to designate Houthis as terrorist group without regard to the humanitarian aspect, and Biden is now lifting the restriction with no pressure on the group to minimize their acts. So both sides have been, if you notice, they are doing this without no deep understanding of the Yemeni dynamics of conflict. International organizations are always, I would say that, and unfortunately, we always been accused of being, critical or, just skeptic. But I believe that it's colonial driven mentality that is governing the international humanitarian organizations. For so long, we have been asking them to support the organizations on the ground, to support them by the pressure that the armed and non-state actors group are imposing on them on the ground. And when it comes to them, they just they decide, for example, the UN organization to stop the aid. So we don't agree with the cut of aid, for example, or other interventions, because we believe Yemeni people are the ones who are going to suffer, as we witnessed during the past years. But also, there has to be a deep revisit of their approaches in Yemen, all of them. When we talk to EU diplomats, when we talk to Western researchers, they have this colonial mentality that they feel like they know better, and they feel that they know the context, and they think if they always have one part of the truth, or say that one part of the solution, but they don't do a balanced approach. If they put a pressure on the Saudis, they don't put pressure on Iran and the Houthi group. And if they do this, so we face this on the long term, and we believe like with I personally against imposing any restriction because of purely humanitarian reasons. But apparently, what I can tell from Biden administration is that they lack also the right understanding of the conflict in Yemen, and I am not optimistic that this is going to help the Yemeni people in the future.
All right. Thank you, Kawkab. On that note, I'll have to wrap up because we're running out of time. Thank you so much for coming on the Sania Farooqui show. It was truly wonderful, and good luck with all the work that you're doing and your next move, whatever that you take up professionally. And yeah, thank you again for coming on the Sania show today.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad today that I was part of your show.
So that's it. That's a wrap from us. Thank you so much for watching. Those of you who've joined us, I hope that you will subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'll see you again next week.